Every morning, millions of Americans wake up and head to work. You know the drill. Teachers teach, drivers drive, designers create, and accountants calculate. It's literally the heartbeat of our society. But what happens to that rhythm when a machine just learns to do it better, faster, cheaper, and without ever needing a paycheck? Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're tracing the timeline of the last human job.
For years, we've been told that technology is just a tool, right? A calculator helps the accountant. A word processor helps the writer. But what if AI doesn't just assist us? What if it entirely replaces us? Throughout history, technological revolutions have totally changed the world. Think the steam engine, electricity, the internet. But AI? AI is fundamentally different. It's not just a tool for physical leverage, it's a replacement for cognitive labor. So the question is no longer, can AI do this job? The darker, much more urgent question we have to ask is, how many humans will actually still be needed?
To really grasp the sheer scale of this transformation, we're going to map out the next few decades. We'll follow current expert projections from 2025 all the way to 2050, breaking it down into three distinct eras: the first wave, the deepening grip, and finally the crossroads, where humanity faces a pretty stark choice. As we walk through this timeline, the economic chaos and the social upheaval that lies ahead, well, it becomes incredibly clear.
So let's dive right into Chapter 1, the first wave, covering 2025 to 2030.
For millions of people, this threat is already here. Right now, customer service agents are competing with super sophisticated chatbots, and graphic designers are watching image generators create in seconds what used to take them days. And if we look at the global scale, 300 million. Goldman Sachs predicts that AI could automate the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs by the year 2030. Just let that scale sink in for a second. 300 million livelihoods. That is roughly the entire population of the United States, effectively displaced or radically transformed by automation.
If we zoom in and focus specifically on the United States, the impact really intensifies. McKinsey estimates that up to 30% of all work hours could be automated within this very first wave. And because of this massive shift, we're looking at 12 million forced occupational shifts, 12 million Americans who will have to completely change what they do for a living. We're talking about retraining, relocating, and entirely reimagining their careers just to survive in a rapidly shifting economy.
You know, we often think of automation as mostly a blue-collar issue. And yeah, by 2025, AI could replace up to 2 million manufacturing jobs in the US as robots take over repetitive assembly lines. Customer service and data entry, those roles will vanish too. But the real shock is exactly who else is in the crosshairs. White-collar workers earning up to $80,000 a year are hit incredibly hard. If your job involves drafting reports or analyzing data, an AI can now do that in seconds. Turns out, that expensive college degree doesn't double as an invisible shield against automation after all.
And this brings us to a really jarring contradiction. Economically, this first wave sparks an absolute boom. AI could boost global GDP by a staggering 7% annually. Companies become hyper-efficient and their profits soar. But you have to contrast that corporate productivity boom with the stark human cost. We're talking massive job displacement, unemployment spiking, especially for lower-wage earners. And crucially, the data shows that women are actually 1.5 times more likely to need entirely new careers during this transition. So the corporate bottom line goes up, but the social foundation really begins to crack.
Moving on to Chapter 2, the deepening grip, spanning 2030 to 2040.
By 2035, those initial shockwaves settle into a permanent reality, automating massive sectors of media and medicine. AI won't just be drafting emails anymore, it's going to handle complex news summaries and really intricate patient scheduling. In advanced economies, 60% of all jobs will be directly impacted. Now, half of those roles will be enhanced by AI, meaning the human actually becomes more productive and likely earns more. But the other half, they are at severe risk of vanishing entirely. Think about it like this. A senior lawyer might use AI to drastically increase their output and thrive, but the paralegals who used to do all that research manually, their roles become entirely obsolete.
Now, if society navigates this correctly, the upside is astronomical. IMF models predict that if humans and AI manage to complement each other rather than directly compete, we could see output jumps of up to 16% in places like the UK. This is the ultimate promise of the AI revolution: immense economic gains, unprecedented efficiency, and the potential to solve really complex problems faster than ever before. But remember, these numbers only reflect economic output. They don't reflect human well-being. Because, let's be real, work is more than just a paycheck. It's our identity, its purpose, stability, community. Without careful management, the social fallout of the 2030s could be absolutely devastating. High-wage earners gain massively, while low-skilled workers face chronic, inescapable unemployment. Older workers who might struggle to adapt to these new digital workflows could create an entirely lost generation. If people lose their purpose and their ability to provide, history warns us that the result is severe social tension, protests, and a deepening mental health crisis.
But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. There are glimmers of hope here. Society is resilient, and new structures will inevitably emerge. As AI frees up our time from all that drudgery, we'll likely see the expansion of universal basic income trials, likely funded by the taxation of all that AI-driven productivity. Our entire education system will probably pivot from a one-time college degree to a model of lifelong learning. And while some jobs vanish, others explode. STEM jobs are actually projected to grow by 23%, and the healthcare sector, which desperately relies on that human touch, will demand 5.5 million more roles. We will adapt.
Which brings us to Chapter 3, the crossroads, from 2040 to 2050.
By the middle of the century, 50% to 80% of all jobs will be completely transformed or fully automated. The complex intellectual domains we always thought made us special, deep analysis, intricate financial modeling, computer programming, those will belong to AI. Ironically, the absolute safest people in the whole economy might just be the plumbers and electricians. But for the vast majority of the global workforce, the landscape will be permanently altered.
So, we're facing two vastly different paths forward here. On one hand, dystopia. If AI benefits only a handful of corporate elites, the wealth gap is going to skyrocket. We're talking mass unemployment, chronic poverty for the displaced, and extreme social unrest. But on the other hand, utopia. If we manage this transition right, AI inclusion could literally lift all boats. By handling the drudgery of daily labor, hyper-efficiency could create universal prosperity, giving humanity unprecedented time to focus on art, family, exploration, and innovation.
Steering away from that dystopia and toward utopia requires immediate, massive policy intervention. We absolutely cannot just wait and see what happens. We need robust safety nets that catch displaced workers before they fall into poverty. We need expansive reskilling programs funded at the national level. We desperately need clear frameworks to ensure these tools are deployed ethically and responsibly. And emerging economies, they must leapfrog by building out their digital infrastructure right now so they aren't left behind in the AI dust.
And finally, our last chapter, the last human job.
Underneath all the statistics and the complex economic models, there is a profoundly human question. A robot can process millions of pages of medical text in a millisecond, sure, but can it truly understand grief? Can an algorithm genuinely inspire a classroom full of children? Can a machine build deep, real human trust? The future isn't set. It is up to us to steer it. The future belongs to those who learn to collaborate with AI. Perhaps one day, a role built entirely on our creativity, our compassion, our wisdom, and our search for meaning will be the last human job. Not a job of repetitive labor, but a job of profound connection.
The age of artificial intelligence has arrived. This technological revolution is no longer a forecast, it is the daily weather. The real question isn't whether AI will replace jobs. It's whether our society, our safety nets, and our very understanding of human purpose can adapt quickly enough. So the question I'll leave you with is, are we ready for it?